Y94 cares for kids.
Miracles are made by people like you.
And you can help us make a miracle happen by making a donation at Y94.com.
We need your help.
Click the Cares for Kids banner at Y94.com for details.
That's right. It's the Cares for Kids Radiothon Year 24. We're in our first power hour, and what we're looking for is 435 people yet to become miracle makers, and call that phone number, 701-478-KIDS.
The phone lines are open, so give them a call, 701-478-KIDS. If you're on your way to work, you just want to text in, you can text KIDS to 35270.
Now, what really makes the Radiothon so special is that it is all of the families that are coming in and saying, this is our story, this is how this hospital has helped us. And I think it's easy to forget sometimes. These are all local stories, right? These aren't from New York, San Diego, Minneapolis. Even these are people from the area, Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead. And Tara, you are from West Fargo. I am from West Fargo, yes. It probably helps if I turn on your microphone. There we go. Well, we appreciate you coming in today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So tell us about your kiddo, Ellie, and what brought you guys to the hospital and some of the experience there so far. What's the story?
Sure. So Ellie was born in May of 2022, and we had known pretty early on she actually failed her newborn hearing screening before we were released from the hospital. Not a super uncommon thing, fluid in the ear canals, that sort of a thing. It's a pretty common thing, and for kiddos to have perfect hearing after that. So they said basically, we'll send you home, we'll follow up a couple weeks with an additional appointment, and I'm sure everything will be fine. So we took Ellie home, got settled in as a family of 5, didn't really think a whole lot else of it. Went to that follow-up appointment a couple weeks later, and that was really our first indication, okay, something bigger might be actually going on here. We were almost immediately referred to Kayla McClellan, who is an audiologist at Sanford downtown, and we took Ellie in, and that's really when the full testing process had started. We had done several hearing tests with her. Really, we're getting a lot of fluctuating results, didn't have a lot of answers, anywhere from mild loss to severe loss to moderate to mild. It was just kind of moving all over the place. And so Kayla had said, let's get some hearing aids in her, and we'll figure out what next looks like. So Ellie got hearing aids when she was 3 months old, and the idea behind it was essentially have her wear these hearing aids until she's old enough to do a sedated ABR and MRI, which is the most accurate way to test an infant's hearing. So when Ellie was 8 months old, we brought her to the Sanford Hospital in Fargo here, and she did a sedated hearing test. And we learned that day that Ellie's hearing loss had progressed, and she was profoundly deaf in both ears.
Now, when you learn something like that, what are some of the emotions you're flooded with? What are some of the thoughts you have when you find out, like, my otherwise healthy child is going to be dealing with this forever?
Mm-hmm. Overwhelm. It's my husband and I, neither of us have hearing loss in our family history. So when you're pregnant and you have all these kind of what ifs in the back of your mind, having a deaf child is just not even on your radar. And so, getting that news, and then there's just this flood of, has my daughter ever heard me hum her to sleep at night? Has my daughter ever heard me say, I love you? You just don't know. Did she ever really have hearing, or did she lose it yesterday? It's like, you just don't really know when it actually happened and really where it fell short. So it's just, what next? I had not even been remotely familiar with cochlear implants at that point. I didn't really know what they were. I had heard of them, didn't really know how they worked. So it was just a lot of, oh my gosh, how do we navigate this?
Well, and for, I think, a lot of people that, hear the beginning of the story, they go, well, that's where it ends, right? They find this out. She's, profoundly deaf, and that's something they're going to have to deal with. Mm-hmm. But then thanks to these implants, a lot changed.
So much. Yeah, I can't even begin to explain. When we sat with Ellie's care team, it's by that point, they had built so much trust with us, from the time Ellie was born until that appointment at 8 months, that whatever processes or options or potential solutions they had, it's like we knew it was coming from a place of caring and a place of hope and a place of help. And just the education piece and the endless amounts of my chart messages Kayla got from me, and and just never, ever, ever, it's just unwavering. It's just the support and the hope that they provided our family when we were really, really having a hard time was just unmatched. I can't even begin to explain what it did for our family, and just helped us through that process that we just had no idea how to navigate.
Can you remember the day when the cochlear implants were turned on and what that was like? And for her to be able to hear sounds that she may not have heard before.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It was so funny. So we activated them, and my husband actually stood behind her and clapped, and she turned around.
Oh.
And just something so simple, and it's just something, turning the bathwater on now down the hall and Ellie being in a different room, hearing the water running and getting excited and running to the bathroom. I mean, that's just something that with our other two kiddos, it was just never, you take that stuff for granted, and that those are such huge milestone moments for Ellie and our family.
When you, after the implants are on, when you personally, as mom, first said I love you after that point, or first hummed a song, or first sang to her, what kind of weight did that have for you?
Oh, it was so much. I mean, even like the first time that she did a little dance when she heard music, it's like, oh my gosh, she's never heard music before, and it's just those little moments of, I think, connection. So much of the human connection is through voice, and it's just to feel like you don't have that with your daughter, and how alone or lonely she might have felt in those first, 8 or 9 months of her life, to not have that on your shoulders anymore is just, it's such a breath of fresh air. And it's just was kind of Ellie's new beginning.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the Cares for Kids Radiothon. The hope is that people pick up the phone and call. Now, what people maybe don't realize when they hear this story is that Sanford Children's Hospital is one of the few hospitals in the region that could even do something like these implants for a child that young. Knowing that and knowing the experience you had there, why do you think people should pick up the phone and make a donation, become part of this radiothon?
It's so important. I mean, when I've through Ellie's journey, I've just connected with people across the country, and there are families that are quite literally uprooting their lives and their families and their jobs to other states and other areas of the country to receive the care that we have access to in Fargo. And thinking back to those early days with Ellie's hearing loss and the grieving that you do and the stress and the overwhelm and the what if, I cannot even fathom packing up my family in the midst of all of that, and also having to move across the country just to get the care that my child deserves. And that wasn't even on our radar at that point, because it's like, it was just here and it was accessible and it was so good from day one. And to have to add that to this never ending list of worry and doubt, I can't wrap my mind around it.
Well, and it's one of those things where I honestly, I think to some extent they want us to take them for granted and to just expect it to be perfect, right? Because that's a testament to the work they do.
Yeah.
But to keep it that way, we do need those donations. 478 Kids 5437 in honor of kiddos like Ellie that had such an amazing experience there. And Tara, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, it is a power hour. Those donations between now and 8 o'clock are going to be matched by Jordahl Custom Homes. We need you now at 478 Kids.
Thanks for listening to the Cares for Kids Radiothon
On Y94. It's a power hour. Cares for Kids. If we don't stand up for children, then we don't stand for much. Help us help the kids. Stories of courage, strengths, challenges, and triumph.
To see more pictures and videos, check out Y.